Yeah, it's, you know, it's like kindness. You know, it's quite an interesting subject, really. You know, like with the business world, like everyone's trying to be kind, aren't they, to each other, and pleasing.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes I think like kindness itself could be quite wicked and for the wrong reasons. And it's like we're all living in a kind world, but it's not kind, if you see what I mean. Like they're doing it for money,
Yeah.
doing it for profits, and some people, there are some real, genuinely kind people out there, but like it's like a car dealer, for instance. He's going to try to sell cars. And he don't care how he's going to get the money. Do you know what I mean? So he might say a pile of rubbish. You know what I mean? Even though he told you it was good. Do you know what I mean? You get a lot of that out there.
Get a lot of
Yeah, exactly.
deceitful people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This business world we're living in is kind of made it very bitchy, awkward, nasty, evil, wrong, whatever.
Corruption.
Yeah. People fall out of money over a tenner.
Money's usually the root of a lot of shit.
Well, people could lose their friendship over tenors or end up killing each other. Do you know what I mean?
It's crazy.
And so on. And like I said, we all know we're living in a crazy world. Which we sometimes really wish we could get on a rocket and go to another planet. All of us, but we can't. We're stuck on this planet, which is, to me, a very beautiful planet. Earth itself, beautiful, blue sky, oceans, everything. Fish, colourful fish, and which people can't really appreciate too much. Because they're working all the time, or living in the shit world we're living in. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Because it is, and it's getting tougher. As we all know. Like electric going up. And I think, oh, great. Do you know what I mean? It's. What can anyone do?
And added pressure.
Yeah, it's not like, so you can't do the nice things you want anymore because you've got cutbacks.
Yeah.
Because you've got, do you know what I mean? So I think everyone wants to be happy, but a lot of people are finding it impossible.
Some people are finding it hard, but people are trying their best. I think most people are just trying their best. Just work hard and. And just try their best, and try to remain positive and happy regardless of whatever's going on,
with the business world again, we've all got different occupations. Not all of us, There's a lot of nurses out there, whatever.
Yeah.
But there are so many different occupations out there. You can be a clown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And entertain people, make people laugh. Be funny. So you can, or you can have a terrible job down the sewers.
Yeah.
And how can you be happy digging shit up, whatever, and so on. So there's quite some jobs.
There are some nasty jobs out there that have to be done, that someone has to be paid to do it, don't they?
Who wants to work in a factory?
Yeah.
But lots of people do.
They do.
And they do it for the money, because it helps them pay the bills.
Of course, yeah.
Which they're struggling to pay. So yeah, I think, like, it's a shame really, because everywhere, if the government, say that electric was free, everyone would be happy.
Yeah.
Or, it's funny, isn't it, the world we're living in.
Yeah.
In a funny way, where we can switch, like, I know, like 20 years ago, people were a lot happier than they are today.
Oh, yeah.
And I think 40 years, going back 40 years, people were a lot happier. Do you know what I mean? Even happier. And if you go back in time, I think people were happier.
Yeah.
Depending where you lived or what situation you were in. If you're, especially if you're sort of like quite well off, I think you would have been quite happy in life. But even so, I think it was difficult. Back then, you didn't have double glazing, for instance, to keep us warm.
Yeah.
And today in this modern world, we've got places where we can all keep warm.
Of course, yeah.
And like cats, really, they love keeping warm. We do too. And we're not so happy if we get cold. Or if we haven't got a cosy bed to sleep in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which I think is very important for happiness.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've done enough talking, but, I think like, even your shoes, you've got to be happy with, your feet's got to be happy.
Yeah.
You've got buy the best socks, you know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's no good buying shitty socks that's going to make your feet sore at
Yeah.
the end of the day, do you know what I mean? Because you're going to be miserable the next day in a funny way because you've got a sore leg. You know, so all these things are very important, really, like looking after your own coziness in a way. You know.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody likes change.
No.
Right, like,
well, a lot of people are resistant to change, but a lot of times change can be good. You know.
Yeah. Sometimes.
And sometimes people don't actually realise it or see it till they actually do take that leap of faith and decide to make that change.
That's
you know.
Right.
You know.
That's right. You know, it's like me going back. You know, because I probably bring it up every episode, but when I was married, you know, I was happy, but then I lost her, you know, and that made me unhappy.
Yeah.
You know, but then slowly in time,
you regain.
I regain my happiness. You
Yeah.
know? So I feel like I'm somebody that knows a lot about happiness. You know, like we were talking about memories, for instance, earlier on.
Yeah.
Where like that's one thing nobody can really take off you.
Yeah.
Okay, they can take your shirt.
Yeah.
Or steal your money, right? Or take your house, or even take your children.
Yeah.
Or you can lose your wife or whatever, or your mum and dad or whatever. But one thing you don't lose in life, but you can, is your memories. You know.
Yeah.
But it's like if you went to prison, what are you left with?
Yeah.
Your memories.
Yeah.
You know, you can't go to work when you're in prison or anything. You know, and you can't really gain any more memories really by going to the beach. You know, do you know what I mean? You're stuck in a prison every day, so that's going to be your memories. You know, every day in prison. You know, with bars in front of you. You know, and it's really quite horrible. I think.
Yeah.
You know, in a kind of way. Personally, I think it's horrible punishing people when they've done terrible things because they didn't know better. You with me? Right,
yeah, but how? But
yeah.
My only question to that would be, how do we decipher whether or not they knew better or not? Do you get what I'm trying to say? How do we decipher that? How do we how do we decide whether or not that person was competent of what they were doing?
Well,
or not?
you know, I don't know. You know, like I say,
that would be the
I think like prisons evolved over thousands of years. Do you know what I mean? So,
well,
you know,
we can't have
we got today.
We can't have serial killers running around.
Yeah.
We don't want rapists running around. We don't want child predators running around. You don't want all these things, all these people. You know what I mean? You know these people.
Yeah, but Josh, the truth of the matter, right?
Yeah.
Even though we've got all these prisons, we have got murderers running around. We have got rapists.
No, we do. We do.
Yeah.
We
so
do.
it don't matter.
Okay. But I'm just saying, I feel much happier. You know, I don't wish that on anyone. But I'm just saying, if there's people out there that are doing that shit and doing sick, depraved shit to people, that if they do get locked up, then that's I could care less. You know what I mean? To me, I just see it as at least there's going to be some people out there that can sleep peacefully and safely after their ordeal with having their whatever ordeal they've had to deal with that person or put up with because there's a lot of predators out there, mate, of all you know what I mean? And
yeah, but I think
sick
personally,
people,
I think every person born is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the world that corrupts the people.
Well,
of course.
I think like there is God inside of them, right? Whatever. I try and talk to them, but they don't listen.
Yeah.
Right, because they're trying to, they're doing things really that for their own entertainment, and they're not listening to God's voice inside them. Do you know what I mean? Whatever, and they don't follow God's instructions, whatever, and they lose the plot. Do you know what I mean? And it's like some people have not had a mum and dad to love them things, do you know what I mean? And or there's all kinds of cases out there, do you know what I mean? And they end up doing really bad things.
Yeah.
Right. For they don't. Nothing happens. Everything kind of happens for a reason in a funny way. But like, I know it sounds nasty, right? And it like people do nasty things to innocent people from vicious people out there in a funny way.
Yeah.
But these vicious people have kind of like got neglected for some reason when they're a child.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This is kind of thing shouldn't happen in the first place.
And sometimes, like you're saying as well, sometimes it is repeated behaviour. Sometimes it's learned behaviour. Sometimes things happen to people and they end up regurgitating that behaviour towards other people. If you see what I mean, because to them it might be normal, or they might just been so traumatised that it's affected them mentally, and they ended up doing that to other people. As you see what I mean? So
that's right. You know, there's all kinds of situations out there.
Oh, for sure.
Know.
Yeah.
You know, some people go to prison and they've not even done anything. Do you know what I mean? You know, they spent a long time in there. You know. And it doesn't make them feel happy, do you know what I mean? They feel quite revengeful.
Yeah.
In a funny way, you know. And this is a sad world we're living in. You know, it's full of rage, revenge, anger. You know, and it's a shame that we can't find the happiness. Like, for instance, I told you, you know, earlier on that like 30 years ago, people used to be a lot happier.
Yeah.
You know, when I was younger, 40 years ago, there was a lot more parties going on, and people used to, you know, it just used to be a bit more safer.
Yeah.
Around the streets, you know, where today it's getting a little bit more, as you know, when you go shopping, is more shopping going to get nicked? You know, do you know what I mean? You know, because everyone's finding it a bit of a struggle with money out there, you know, and, you know, so I think people, you know, if they start getting hungry, that's when things start becoming very, very wrong.
Oh, of course, because as we all know, the more poverty, generally the more poverty, the more crime you get, because a lot of people are having to resort to doing things that they might not necessarily normally do to make ends meet, if you see what I mean, because they might have lost their job, they might have been made redundant, they might have, you know, their house might be in the process of being repossessed from them because they lost their mortgage, or you know, sometimes people just do what they have to do to survive. Sometimes, you know.
I mean, there's all kinds of situations out there, you know, where I think we're all living in different circumstances. Like, some people own their house.
Yeah.
Some people don't. Some people, you know, don't feel secure.
Yeah.
Where they're living, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I've got all kinds of things, you know, I've got all kinds of different problems with different people, you know. I think, you know. And even, like, for instance, loneliness, you know, that's another thing. You know, some people get very unhappy because they're completely alone in life, you know, they got no one.
Yeah, yeah.
Apart from maybe the doctor to see, do you know what I mean? And that could be pretty sad.
That's
quite
sad, yeah.
And some people have had a complete lone life, you know, they're, like, in their childhood, do you know what I mean? And in their old age, completely alone. You know, but some people might have had quite a popular, you know, like me, for instance, right, yeah. At school, you know, even though I didn't like it, I was quite popular in the juniors, you know, whatever, and I had a number of girlfriends, whatever.
Yeah.
I was popular, and I was enjoying life a little bit, you know, and I had a big family, you know, and I had a number of people, you know, and I was never lonely, you know, and today I'm at last living alone, you know, most of my family are dead now, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so I sort of like, I didn't live a lonely life. You know, I was married for 13 years, so I can remember all that.
Yeah.
You know, so that's experience. You know, like I think again, like life's all about experiences. You know, gaining all these experiences up in your life, so you understand it more.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've learned not to get married again. You know, if I live another life, I'm not going to do that one again. That's for sure. You know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, they don't teach you at school, do they? Do you know what I mean? They don't teach children the truth. I don't think. They just let them leave school and make their own decisions up about their sex life and all kinds of things in a funny way, and it gets them in trouble. If you ask me, you know, like young teenagers getting pregnant in no time. You know, where that's purely just down to they're not educated properly. I don't think, you know, because I didn't have any children. Sorry. When I was that age, when I was young. Yeah. Right, but even so, you know, you need to be educated before you have a child, honestly. Yeah. And I think even understanding, really, before you have a child, that is going to be hard work. It's going to take your life.
Of course, yeah.
You know, and a lot of time up, you know. It's not all lovely, having a baby, I'll tell you.
It's hard work.
It's quite hard work.
It can be hard.
Well, it's like having an extra leg.
Yeah.
Or an extra arm.
It's lovely and it's very rewarding and it's beautiful to have kids. I've got two wonderful kids myself and it's great. It's great, but like you said,
it's a gift from God.
It's being a parent is one of the hardest jobs out there, though. You know.
It's a responsibility, isn't it?
And it changes and evolves in terms of difficulty as they get older. If you see what I mean, as they grow and mature and get older, things change. If you see what I mean,
Quickly.
So,
in a funny way, like your daughter's at 2 at the moment.
No, my daughter's
3,
4.
That's right, yeah.
And my son's about to be 10.
Exactly,
Yeah.
And then you think another 5 years he'd be 15, Probably growing a bit of a beard by then,
Yeah, probably bless
him.
him.
Like my son, he's that grown. I could believe it, he's sort of grown a beard at 15 and stuff,
I think I did as well, mate. I think my beard I had a beard early. I had a beard early as well.
Yeah. But another thing, we mature differently, Yeah. I mean, I would have been happier if I met a better girl to marry.
Yeah.
And that's what's important, really. Like the girl that I met, who I was with 13 whole years, and I worked nearly almost every year, every day, whatever, long hours. She didn't, I didn't really know her, to be honest with you. I mean, I loved her,
Yeah.
But she didn't love insects for one, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we didn't have nothing in common, And I think, I've since met a few girls that loved insects like me.
Yeah.
And we get I get on with them so well. Do you know what I mean? And it's quite funny, innit? Like I said, that's very, very important who you fall in love with, really. Is she going to make you happy?
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you get married, alright, you got to choose somebody that's going to make you happy.
Of course, yeah.
You know,
someone that's going to celebrate you and not tolerate you.
Yeah.
You know.
And as I say, a lot of people, they rush into it and they get married to people they don't like or know.
Well, I think sometimes what it is lust, not love.
Yeah. Well, I think
that's what happens to a lot of people. To be honest, a lot of people they lust.
Include me.
They lust. It's lust and not actually love. Sometimes they think because the relationship. Because don't forget, a lot of relationships, that first 6 months to a year, and most of the time, sometimes even up to 2 years, can be blissful, like almost like a honeymoon phase for that whole year, 2 years. But then after that, once things get serious and things change, the dynamic of relationship changes, you might get engaged, might move in together, might end up having a child, getting married, whatever. As the relationship changes and evolves, as time goes on, the more it gets the difficulties change, if you see what I mean.
It's more complicated.
Yes, that's it.
It's more.
Gets more. Yeah.
Your memories get more. It's where, like, for instance, you meet your wife's parents for the first time.
Oh yeah.
And you have dinner, Christmas dinner, and then you have one next year and the next year, and you get to know these people quite like they're family now. Do you know what I mean? And you got a lot of memories of them as time goes by.
Yeah.
Like I say, I was with my wife for 13 years. And do I regret it?
No.
No, I can't. Because like I say, I've got 2 beautiful children from it.
Out of it, yeah.
And I had a lot of good times. And I think she did too. But just at the end of it, we just weren't made for each other. We weren't matched. Like I said, she didn't love the insects. Or. But another thing, she didn't. I like riding bikes. She didn't like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I also think right to is right, mate. My way of thinking is kind of quite different to a lot of people's, right, in some ways. Like, I'm the type of person that I believe not everyone is supposed to be together forever. I think sometimes people come into our lives at certain times, certain periods, for a certain amount of time, for us to, like you said, for experiences and to learn and to grow and to, whatever, etc. But I don't think everyone is supposed to be together forever. I think sometimes people are supposed to be together for a certain period of time to help them both grow and to mature and or to develop or to progress in the way that they want to as you know, as grown adult human beings in a relationship. And then I think sometimes people just, you know, it gets to a point where people just part ways, if you see what I mean. You know,
So you sort of get.
It's almost like their paths were supposed to be destined to be together for a certain amount of time, and then after that they were supposed to go off kind of in their own separate ways, kind of thing, and you know, and move on and into a different existence, kind of, in a way, if you see what I mean, a different way of life, if you see what I mean, from what they knew, you know. Everything is a learning process, you know. It's a learning process, you know. It's all about growth, you know.
You know, like, I really seriously got hurt with my wife, right? I really did, because I loved her.
Yeah.
I said, yeah. But I'm glad I got hurt, because, like I said, the pain has made me, funny enough, happier today.
Yeah.
I can't explain it.
Yeah.
Just, you know, I think, like, once you've felt pain, like I did, you know, like I said, I put a lot of energy in it, you know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, the jobs that I had, you know, like I had a number of jobs when I, you know, whilst I was with her, and I've become supervisor. You know what I mean? So I worked hard at my jobs.
Yeah.
You know, to try to get a bit more money, whatever, you know, and try to do the best I can, you know, for my family, or whatever. But then I lost it at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is quite gutting.
Yeah.
It's quite hard and it's quite hurtful. But I think, like I say, I would say that when things hurt you in life, but, you know, which they can do, you know, like I said, I've been really hurt terribly quite a few times. But remember that your pain will make you get happier and stronger.
Stronger, yeah.
Because I think being stronger really is a kind of energy of happiness. You know. And, you know, it's one thing that I've to be honest with you, yeah, since I was a little boy, it's one of the first things I felt, alright, that I need to be strong in this world, because I was being picked on by teachers, very young age, right, and I you know, I didn't have really any parents, really, because they were sort of arguing at the time, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, I better stand up for myself, like, you know, do you know what I mean? There's lads bigger than me trying to pick on me, you know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and I was only at school, you know, the first year or whatever, you know, or whatever, and I was wanting to be a strong man, a strong boy, if you see what I mean. You know, and I didn't do any weight training, you know, at that age, but mentally, I'd become mentally fixed with sort of, I think it was just being locked up in the cupboard a lot by my teacher, right? It angered me, you know, a lot, you know, because I could see that the other children were being treated fairly, whatever, and I could see that, you know, something wrong. I just didn't feel comfortable in the world I was living. Do you know what I mean? I didn't look quite on sand at the time.
Yeah.
But then when I got, you know, like nothing lasts forever. So I was only in our class for 2 years, first 2 years. So when I went up to the next few years, I went to a normal teacher. But I can remember being really angry about what she'd done with me, right? And it really made me strong. That anger.
Yeah.
You with me? Yeah. You know, so I think like sometimes anger is kind of like good for you, you know, because it kind of helps you to stand up in your feet and survive. Yeah. You know, and become independent in a funny way, you know. Yeah. And I'd say my parents, they weren't really together, and I didn't really see my dad much, only a little bit. And my mum gave me this little shed, you know, so I kind of like become independent very quickly, you know, and I think independence has got a lot to do with happiness too.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, having your own...
Freedom to express yourself in a way, if you see what I mean. Yeah. You know, to be who you are, you know, to make your own decisions, you know, make your own mistakes, you know.
So it's good to be your own boss, you know, like, so I don't like this business world, but we live in a business world.
That's reality.
That's reality. And I don't like that reality, to be honest with you.
Not a lot of us do, but that's the way. So we've got to adapt and overcome.
I don't think it's natural, but it's what it is in a funny way, you know. And I know that the business world can be fun.
Mm.
It can be.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm.
But I can see it's not. You know, like I look at business as an invisible war without guns in a funny way, and people do die over it. People do get shot.
Yeah.
Of business, you know, like mafia and all sorts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of wickedness going on. You know, and people try to earn money any way they can. You know, whether it's selling their body or whatever.
Yeah.
You know. And this is the world we live in. That's reality.
Because going back to happiness, a lot of people believe that having money just brings, you know, ultimate happiness. You know, and as we all know, that's not the reality. You know, of course, money does contribute to your happiness in some ways, of course, because having financial freedoms to live life on your own terms and to do what you want, if you see what I mean, on a daily basis with your time and your whatever you want to do, is a blessing. Of course, that brings happiness in itself. But money doesn't solve all your problems and bring anyone like ultimate happiness. You know, you have to. Happiness is an internal thing. You know, you've got to go inside. You know, no point looking for something. No point looking for anything external to bring you happiness. You have to. It's internally. You know, it's up to you. It's a mindset. You know, you have to make a decision, a conscious decision within yourself, and say, listen, I am going to choose to be happy. I am going to choose to be positive. I'm going to choose to persevere and stay strong and keep going no matter what life throws my way, and I'm going to enjoy my life as much as I possibly can along the way. Even when shit gets hard, I'm still going to try and keep my head up and keep, you know, persevering, you know, keep pushing, you know. So yeah, I think it's an internal thing, you know, and within your mind as well. You know, a lot of people have daily battles within themselves, within their minds, you know. I think
you've got to be happy with who you are.
And that's it. That's a big part of it.
That's right. It is very important, you know.
Yeah, self-acceptance, you know.
I mean, you can even smile if you're homeless or a tramp, and that's the truth, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I remember sort of doing this removal for this rich guy on the seafront, big house, tinted windows, and there's a tram that stepped on the beach.
Okay. Yeah.
Onto this quite a nice, you know, it's only a bench made for people to sit on, right? But it was kind of like got a roof on it, so it's quite a nice place for it, you know.
Okay.
It's shielded from the wind anyway, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But in the summertime, all right, he had a better view than this couple, this married couple that lived there, with a balcony, in their bedroom, all right.
Yeah.
Honestly, this guy had a better view than they did.
Okay, yeah.
And they're millionaires, these people that are moving out.
Okay.
Right, they had a big house.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm just trying to say to people, you know, sometimes, I mean, this removal that I was doing for the rich guy at the time, they were divorcing. And he was losing his house, do you know what I mean? It was getting repossessed, if you see what I mean. So he was going through a tough time, this guy at the time. He was a really nice guy, by the way. You know, I'd say some rich people, right out there, I bet them. I have, you know, and some rich people out there are really nice people, you know. Some rich people are nasty.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Some poor people are nasty.
But exactly, I was just going to say,
you know, it's all to do with intelligence, all right. I believe that intelligence, all right, is happiness in itself. You know, once you get intelligent, you'll become happy. You with me? If you're not intelligent, you won't. You know, you can't be happy if you're not intelligent. You know, you've got to be intelligent to be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah? You with me?
Yeah.
It took me a long time to learn to be happy within.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? You know, I'm not completely happy within. Like I say, I've not seen my daughter for a number of years, you know, so that's hard to live with a little bit, you know, but again, I think it's all to do with accepting things. You know, as I say, nobody, I don't think, well, some people might like it, the world we're living in, but I don't, you know, I'd like to find out who, if you see what I mean. There is some, but this world is made really, you know, I think if you're rich in this